The light of the solar stream pulsed and flashed as she tore through it as fast as she could. She had to get home, but the faster she traveled, the longer the journey became. Obstacles blocked her path, slowed her down. Other worlds called to her. Unseen hands reached for her and pulled her down. "No," she screamed. "I must return before it is too late. Leave me be." Breaking free of their grip, she raced through the solar stream until at last she made it home. She arrived in the temple and raced through its long stone corridors. Her heart roared and her terror grew as she felt the others gathering far from the temple. They were drawing together and merging their powers. She had to reach them, join them. She couldn't be left behind. She emerged from the stone temple and she dashed into the dense green jungle. She put on more speed as she moved along paths as old as time itself. Rushing past the great statues of her people and dodging around the massive trees, this was her home, her sanctuary, her world, but they were all about to leave it, to go on. They had said they would try to wait for her, but when the stars aligned, they would go with or without her. "Please don't let me be too late," she begged. "Please, please." Emily's cry woke her from her terrifying dream, and she felt a warm tongue on her cheek. She looked up and saw the magnificent winged stallion, Pegasus, standing at the side of her bed. He was glowing brightly as he stared down at her and nickered softly. Emily's face was hot and flushed as she was panting heavily as if she'd been in a race. "I'm okay, Pegs," she said softly as she looked up into his large, concerned eyes. Pegasus nickered again and pressed his face to hers. Her father raced into the room. "What's wrong? You were shouting and crying." She was shaking all over. "It's just a dream," she said. "Ever since we got back from Area 51, I've had the same dream over and over again. It's like I'm someone else and trying to get home before something huge happens. I'm so scared that I'm going to miss it, but as I go through the solar stream, things I can't see block my path and something tries to hold me back." She looked up into his caring face. "What does it mean?" Emily's father sat on the bed and pulled her into a tight embrace. "I don't know, honey. They say dreams come from our subconscious as it tries to work something out." "Like what?" Emily said. "I'm not sure, but you've been through so much lately. Maybe your mind is trying to digest everything that's happened. Look at how our life has changed. We live here in Olympus and you've got so many powers now. I know they scare you. Maybe that's the cause of your nightmares." "Not nightmares," Emily corrected. "It's always the same. I'm desperate to get home to some kind of gathering, but I always wake up before I make it there." "Home?" he asked. "You mean New York? Do you want to go back?" Emily frowned and shook her head. "No, not New York, and it's not Olympus either. It's a strange place with jungle all around. I'm in a complicated stone temple surrounded by tall statues." Pegasus snorted loudly and shook his head. He stepped closer to Emily and stared at her intently. As she gazed deep into his warm brown eyes, Emily saw a vision of a jungle world filled with tall stone statues. "That's the jungle. Have you been dreaming of it too?" The strong white stallion shook his head, pawed the floor, and whinnied several times. He turned his head to the door. Then he nudged Emily's father and turned to the door again. "What is it?" her father asked. "What are you trying to tell me?" "He wants you to go somewhere," Emily explained. "This time of night?" After several more failed attempts to get Emily and her father to understand, Pegasus gave up and left the room. He returned moments later with very sleepy Pauline and Joel. "You okay, Joel asked groggily as he stepped closer to her bed. He was just wearing pajama bottoms so she could see where his new silver arm joined his broad body. It looked exactly like the old one that Vulcan had created for him after he lost his real arm in the fight against the Orgins. She was amazed at how quickly Vulcan has been able to build it after the CRU scientists at Area 51 has surgically removed the old one. Emily nodded. "I'm fine. I've had that dream again. But then Peg showed me a place exactly like in my dream." Pauline yawned loudly. His hair stood at all angles and his night clothes were twisted and uncut. He looked at Pegasus and frowned. "You woke me because Emily was having a dream? What about me? I was having my own amazing dream, featuring several water nymphs." Pegasus whinnied and shoved Pauline. "What?" Pauline shot. "Am I not allowed to dream?" Pauline, please, Emily said. Pegasus is trying to tell me something, but I can't understand him. I think it's important. Pauline concentrated on Pegasus. What is it? The stallion nickered several times and shook his head. This is very strange, Pauline said. Pegasus says the world you have been describing from your dream is the world you sent him to when you were shot at the CRU facility in the Nevada desert. Emily frowned. How? I never been there or even heard about it. Why would I dream of a place I've never seen? And why is it always the same dream? Pegasus pawed the floor and nickered softly. Pauline looked shocked. Really? Why have we not heard about this when it concerns Emily? What concerns me? Emily asked. Apparently, after we returned from Earth, Jupiter had some of his people go to the jungle world to explore it. He is curious why your powers would send things there. Emily looked at Pegasus. You knew about this and you didn't tell me? The stallion dropped his head, looking very guilty. Pegasus only just found out. Jupiter told him to say nothing as he feared it might upset you. After everything that happened on Earth, he wanted you to spend more quiet time on Olympus and not worry about the jungle world. Not telling me is what upsets me, Emily shot back. Jupiter promised we were going to figure that out together. He shouldn't have sent people there without me. Emily's father nodded. I agree. There must be some reason why our powers sent you and Alexis there. We have a right to be involved in the investigation. I'll have a chat with Jupiter in the morning and find out what's going on. I'm coming with you, Emily said. Me too, Joel added. And me, Pauline said. Pegasus nickered and nodded his head. Emily didn't need Pauline to translate. The stallion would be there too. Sleep would not return to Emily. After her latest dream, she didn't want it to. Instead, she and Pegasus slipped silently out of the palace and flew high in the